Great good morning, everyone. It is 9:09 and change on my Cordaro Jewelers watch this beautiful Thursday, April 23rd, year of our Lord 20 and 26. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, broadcasting today from the United States of America, the country where, with the right leadership, is making the world great again. It's also the place where the brave, like the veterans we will salute today, thanks to John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group, like Donald Romanowski, Hunlock Creek, Robert Williams, Mountaintop, Stephen Salvaggio, 40 Fort, John Plesh, Hazleton, and Dorothy Evans, West Scranton. The United States of America, founded with the certain knowledge and understanding by our amazing, irreplaceable, and profoundly wise founding fathers who knew that government should not, could not, cannot, and never shall be our parent, our guide, our direction, our salvation. Not any of these things. Because government power always means less freedom, less liberty, and less choice. They also knew that government power, because of human nature, should only be a necessary evil designed to protect and organize society and not much more. The United States of America, the country where, for the first time in human history, freedom was declared by law to be an unalienable right granted to each individual by God. Freedom couldn't be parceled out to groups or controlled by government or government officials because our great American Constitution ensures and codifies freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and freedom of the press, no matter how they use it. Now, because they were armed with these amazing freedoms, and only because of that fact, a ragtag bunch of immigrants, many of them rejects from around the world, they and their progeny created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose, unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed, unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. This Bob Cordaro Show will always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And yeah, we intend the double entendre. And so, we gavel to order today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our total, immersive, immovable commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity to all of you who hearken here for the balance of this singular, extraordinary morning. A gentle warning, this is not a safe harbor for stupidity. It will be roundly and, dare I say, harshly attacked throughout the program. We will not suffer fools gladly. Their foolishness and ignorance, willful or otherwise, will be called out with intent, purpose, and vigor, designed and sadly necessary to save our great republic from evil, senselessness, and weakness, which can bring this amazing, noble, and successful experiment down. If we do not honor our obligations and aggressively oppose it, yeah, we can lose everything that has been built up over 250 years. Well, and that's what it is, guys. It is a truly great morning, isn't it? Now, yesterday afternoon, I'm minding my own business. I'm at home, I'm watching, the cable programs. I think at that moment I had, the moment I got the call, the text from Mike Palucci, I'm watching WILK. and absorbing, everything that they've got to absorb. Even when I take Chauncey for a walk, I'm listening to the radio. And so he says, me and Charlie we're going to the Scranton Club. My man Charlie Jefferson. And so I meet them, it was a mistake, obviously. And however many scotches later, cigars, all that. So I'm a little hungover today. So I apologize if my performance is a little lethargic. They've got my Oban scotch down there. Anyway, but a great night. Mark, my man Mark Ayezi was there. Yeah, we had a great time. Met some new guys that were great. But, we pay for these things. And now Chauncey has worms. We had to bring a stool sample. We go up to the vet. We go to Countryside up in Moscow. And I got whacked for the checkup. And now I got to go get worm stuff up there. He's an expensive little son of a gun. He really is. Anyway, but those are the minor disabilities I'm working against. By the way, I'm happy that this Southern Poverty Law Center story is getting legs. This is who they are. This is who the left is. I want you to know that. There wasn't enough racism for them. So over the course of a decade, or actually less than that, they spent $3 million to foment racism. It's insane. Just let that sink in. The Southern Poverty Law Center. They helped fund the rally in Charlottesville that the Democrat Party has been using for all this time. It's insane. But please remember who they are. By the way, I got my DPS shirt on today. If you're watching on the live stream, brought to you by Roach Supply, the premier bath and kitchen supplier in Northeast Pennsylvania. They're the best. 75 years in business. I think Ron Roach's father was involved in the beginning. And Ron Roach, now in his 90s, still kicking butt and taking names up there. 2 generations working alongside him. 75 years in business. They're up in Honesdale, but they can supply you anywhere in Northeast PA. You go to Roche, R-O-C-H-E, supply.com today. Amazing. So I'm coming in this morning, and I go to Lisa, who's sort of the executive who's in charge of the Bulldog. And I tell her, look, I'm a little hungover today. If the Bulldog misbehaves, you're going to have to step in. And I see my friend Steve Zayak. He's the sales guy here. And he let me know we've got this Rite Aid in Dunmore. And it's been empty since Rite Aid shut down. So these brothers, Justin and Chris Tefera, and their nephew Adam Tefera, and they lost their brother Adam, Justin and Chris did. And they're opening a True Value Hardware on Main Avenue in Scranton. And I said, how? And naming it after their fallen brother. And I said, wow, great. He gave me the article. I won't read it to you, but suffice it to say, it's one of those great things. And you know what else? I read this yesterday, and I ripped it out. I give the newspaper. We're on a budget here, so we only have one newspaper. So I give it to Jeff, the newspaper, after I go through the paper and cut out the obituaries. I give it to Jeff Walker from KRZ fame. And this one article I didn't get to yesterday, and it brings a tear to my eye thinking about it. Guy named Michael Crawford. It says his final goal in life was to be there to see his children graduate. He's a father of 12, retired from the Wilkes-Barre City Fire Department. He was diagnosed with esophageal cancer in July. He's got a terminal diagnosis. He's only 53. He was able to see two of his girls get their nursing diplomas Monday from Mansfield. And they had an early graduation ceremony just for them and him. Well, Northwest area has done the same. Wednesday, yesterday, at 7:30. Cooper is a senior at the Union Township School. They pushed up the graduation so that he would make it. And I said, what an amazing... That is just such an amazing story. How great. And the doctors decided it was more important to stop the chemotherapy and let him spend time with his family because it's terminal. And they didn't know what was going to happen because they stopped the chemotherapy. As we say in Dunmore, therapy. So they had the ceremony early so he could see his kids graduate. There's two great stories. Thank you to Northwest Area School District for doing this. And God bless the Crawford family. All right, we'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll be back. Elvis. Murph says this date, 1960. He moved up to number one, and you listen to the words, you got to justify it. Stuck on You. And 1789, more importantly, President-elect George Washington and his wife Martha move into the first executive mansion, the Franklin House in New York. They said Cherry Street. I would love to see that. I'm hoping it's still standing. I don't know. By the way, a bunch of you pointing this out, and thank you for doing it, because it dawned on me, and then I heard it yesterday. So the Southern Poverty Law Center, they paid a hate group to have their protest in Charlottesville. Remember that? It was paid for by the Southern Poverty Law Center. They paid the haters to do it. Now, Joe Biden, remember his lies? What a sickening, disgusting piece of spit. He lied that was why he decided to run for president. Now, it was a bald-faced lie to start with. And now we find out this left-wing group created. And by the way, they didn't care that somebody died at the rally. This is the left. And they're funded by the Arabellas, the Soroses, the Singhams of the world who hate this country. So does the Southern Poverty Law Center. And they're fomenting this stuff. Thank God there's at least temporary control of the Justice Department. The Biden administration, it was the Justice Department started the investigation against Southern Poverty Law Center. And somebody said, no. There are guys. Don't do it. So Joe Biden's lie that's why he ran for president, because of Trump's statements after Charlottesville. And it was a lie because Trump's statements, he decried the hate groups. Well, Joe Biden's ally, whom he squashed an investigation of as president, now turn out to be the people who started the problem. I want you to know the scum that we're dealing with that runs and is the head of the Democrat Party. That's who they are. As someone texted in, Bob, Joe Biden's affiliates sponsor a hate rally to give him a reason to run for president against Trump. And by the way, and it was a lie that Trump supported the hate groups. Now we find out that the people who started the rally, who paid to make the rally happen, were Biden affiliates, the Southern Poverty and Democrat affiliates. And as somebody says, Biden, a total disgrace. Go ahead, Greenridge Neighborhood Association. Hang another banner for him sponsoring hate. Unreal. From Rich McHale, just a thought. If these extremist groups believe that upon their martyred death they will be gifted with 72 virgins, does that guarantee them the virgins will comply? Just wondering. Yeah. Bob, somebody else. Bob, so many good people were scammed by the Southern Poverty Law Center. FBI Director Kash Patel told Fox, thinking that we're preventing poverty in America, yet it was for generating hate and division to raise more money. No different than an arsonist funding a fire. Yep. Dear Bob, ALTS. That's called job security. ALTS back at you. Looking in the mirror, somebody texted in, as I shaved this morning, I finally confirmed the fact I am not a white supremacist. Yep. Somebody else, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't one of the main reasons for the whole Southern cancellation, removing statues, generals' names, country band names, all that? Yeah, unbelievable. And now jackass Chuck Schumer is now defending the hate group Southern Poverty Law Center. No different than him supporting Iran. I know. They hate the country. They hate it. The people who provide the money for the Democrat Party hate the country. They want it destroyed. And the Democrat Party's complying. Please remember that. We'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll come back with our Veterans Tribute after this. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day, dutifully, proudly supported by and brought to you by John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group. I'm walking down to the Scranton Club yesterday. I just had to text John. He took over and is going to rebuild the Scranton Center, which I had to walk by. And I sent him a text. I'm just so damn proud of you. And that huge corner of downtown Scranton is going to be restored by John. But the Basiliga Hospitality Group's having Basiliga Hospitality Week. All kinds of specials and great things happening at all of their locations, including the Old Brook Inn, 307, Springbrook Township, the Far Street Tavern, the reimagined Tradition in the Great Trips Park section of West Scranton, the Queen City Tavern, downtown Oliphant. And then, of course, at their amazing fine dining restaurants, the Stegmeyer Mansion, downtown Wilkes-Barre, South Franklin Street, and a Terra 519. Your jaw's going to drop going into either of those places, I'm telling you. Robert Williams. We lost him at age 96 on March 16th. He was from Mountaintop. Born in Nanticoke, he graduated from Nanticoke High School. He attended the American Management School in New York. A faithful member of St. Jude's Parish, Mountaintop. Robert honorably enlisted and served in the U.S. Army. Was a longtime member of the Mountaintop American Legion. Employed by Pennsylvania Gas and Water for 40 years until he retired in 1992. Active member of the Mountaintop Area Lions Club for 25 years. He was president. He was treasurer. He enjoyed traveling with his beloved wife for 66 years, Connie, who passed last year. Survived by his son Tracy and his wife Robin, also of Mountaintop. Robert Williams. Donald Romanowski from Highland Manor, formerly of Hunlock Creek. Welcomed into heaven by his wife Joan, March 19th this year. Graduate of Nanticoke High School. Obtained certification in business administration from Wilkes-Barre Business College. Don also completed real estate courses at Luzerne County Community College. Don was a proud United States Marine with tours of duty in the Caribbean and the Mediterranean. After his service, Don was vice president treasurer of LaBar Enterprises, Inc. Along with his wife, Joan, they also owned and operated Romanowski Realty for many years. They had apartment buildings throughout Nanticoke. Longtime member of Our Lady of Mount Carmel Parish in Lake Silkworth and the VFW Post in Kingston. Surviving are his daughter, Deborah, and her husband, Frank Zupanchik. Grandson, great-granddaughter, and other family members. Donald Romanowski. Donald Romanowski and Robert Williams, our great veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Oh, that sound means it's the weather, brought to you by our great friends at Montage Mountain Resorts, that they're swinging into spring, and the Wagyu Burger, it's there waiting for you in the lodge. Today, partly sunny and pleasant, 73, the best day of the week. Tonight, partly cloudy, will get down to 42. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, but apparently it's going to get to the high 60s, low 45. Saturday, chilly with periods of rain, high 50, low 42. Sunday, mostly cloudy, but it's going to bump up to 62, low of 42. Monday, warmer, mostly cloudy in the morning, followed by sun through high clouds. How about that? High is 71, low of 42. So it's gonna, it's April. It's not bad. And that's your weather, brought to you by our great friends at Montage Mountain Resorts. And when I think about them, I think of the Wagyu Burger. You got to go try it. I'm telling you. I don't know where Murph finds this stuff. But April 23rd, 1966, Paul Revere and the Raiders moved from number 18 to number 10. Like who cares? With their hit Kicks. And, of course, Jerry Seinfeld before that. Hey, just a shout-out. Shout-out, article by Bob Kalinowski in the Citizen's Voice. Yeah, but they do some good articles. It's a horrible newspaper, but they do some good articles. That's by Bob Kalinowski. And then, of course, the Adams Hardware in the Rite Aid up on Main Avenue in Scranton by the Tefera brothers in honor of their brother. Gary D sends me a lot of stuff. One thing he sent, and I just to keep it in mind. Reports out of London are describing that landlords have openly advertising Muslims-only rentals. Just know it's coming to you. It's coming to a theater near you. And thanks for that, Gary. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This is where we're headed. Unbelievable. I'm telling you, we're in scary places. We're in a scary place culturally. And now you've got the Democrats standing up for the Southern Poverty Law Center, which actually paid hate groups to hate so that they would have a reason to exist. There wasn't enough racism for them. This is how sick they are. Bob loved the show always. Instead of ALTS, they did LTSA. Love the show always. I like that too. And they say, you know, when I think of Biden, I see a shallow liar. He cared nothing for this country. He didn't. He was selfish, greedy, and immoral in my book. I never saw one redeeming quality. By the way, I did in his, but not as president. So I'm with you there. He was a terrible president, the listener continues. No leadership. He just said what the other nitwits wanted to hear. And thanks for being on the air. Well, LTSA back at you, brother. Somebody says veterans who are on a fixed income thinking they're stopping poverty in the South, their money was sponsoring hate and violence. The whole Democrat Party leftists will burn in hell for such deception. Bunch of true scumbags. With you. This is who they are. Just remember that's who they are. This is the enemy. The battle is over. Yeah, the election in 2024. But the war goes on. We'll take a break and be back. William Shakespeare's birthday today. My man Mark from Hazleton tells me. So, Mother Teresa, St. Teresa for April 23rd. She says, I take the Lord at his word. Faith is a gift from God. Without it, there would be no life. And our work, to be fruitful and beautiful, has to be built on faith. Love and faith go together. They complete each other. St. Teresa for today. Thank you, Mary Regina. Amazing. Yeah, it's just great that we're surrounded by such goodness. And I put provisos in there because St. Teresa, among many beautiful, great people, they sort of don't acknowledge evil. And, so we'll see. So my man Mark Mayer says, is Chet Parlavecchio coming on? To talk about the NFL draft, because Navy guys all excited about the draft. And I said, well, let me get in touch with them. And Chet said, well, I'm not prepared. I said, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. My Cordaro Jewelers watch tells me it's going to be 950 on the nose. That means Bloomberg. We'll be back. Norman Greenbaum. Murph tells us this date, 1970. He never got a stage name. That's why he's not famous. He received, though, a gold record for his hit, Spirit in the Sky. Sold over 2 million copies between 69 and 70. And you had to go to Joe Nardone's Gallery of Sound to buy the record. Physically buy the record. 2 million people did it for Norman Greenbaum. And that song. Bob Cordaro back with you as we wind up the hour. Bob, your buddy Rich mentioned 72 versions. I want to add, I hope it's 71 versions and Eric Swalwell is up there waiting. Bob, I wonder how people in England feel about what is happening in that country. They are outraged. But see, they let it happen. They let it happen. Look at England, Ireland, all of Europe, all the countries of Europe. They let it happen by being passive or saying, well, I hate politics. Oh, I'm not going to vote. We're at that inflection point in this country. The Democrat Party has gone insane. The left is rampaging throughout the country on every front. We're not being asked to storm the beaches in Normandy or Iwo Jima. We're being asked to go out and vote common sense, to vote the bums out, to vote for Rob Bresnahan. That's all. It's all we have to do. If we're not willing to do it, we will lose the country just like England. But now people are out in the streets protesting in England. And it might be too late because the scum is running the country. Fred Duckman says, I thought we would play PT 109 by Jimmy Dean after that JFK spot. What do you think of that, Bulldog? You didn't think of that, did you? You're probably not even aware of the song, are you? You got to find it. I didn't ask you to put your headset on and talk. I'm talking to you. So find Jimmy Dean with the PT 109 song. We got to play it. Yeah, no, this is something. All right, go ahead, play it. Play it. Fred Duckman, he's always on. By the way, the Kennedy family publicity machine, nothing like it. Nothing like it until present day with the left. Songs, books, you name it. Thanks for bringing that to our attention, Fred. And by the way, there's varying stories. And I would always accede to Rick Bigelow on this. But the story that I'm familiar with, and I think he corrected me, so don't take this as gospel. The stories that I've read, because the PT boat was designed to be quick and maneuverable, and it got cut in half, basically, by a bigger ship, a Japanese ship, which they were either asleep or the engine died or whatever happened. But and Kennedy showed his bravery after the accident, whatever the genesis of the accident was. But it might have been a screw-up. Anyway, Bob Cordaro, WILK. We got to take a break because it is news time. My Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 10:01. That means it's Brian Hughes time. Let's go to him, and then we'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Great good morning, everyone. My Cordaro Jewelers watch tells me it's 10:09 and change. This beautiful Thursday, April 23rd, year of our Lord, 2026. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and honor, with the help of our man John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group. It's Hospitality Week. But we honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like veterans we have lost this year, but celebrate today, thanks to John. Like Donald Romanowski of Hunlock Creek, Robert Williams, Mountaintop, Stephen Salvaggio, 40 Fort, John Plesh of Hazleton, and Dorothy Evans, West Scranton. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incredible, incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. A reminder, this Bob Cordaro Show will always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. Yes, we intend the double entendre there. And so, after that brief news adjournment, we gavel back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising that our deep and unalterable commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity to all of you who hearken here. So I got sent information on a book, a publicist. It's called The Last Decrepitzer. I mean, he can correct me, but I think it's pronounced Decrepitzer. I actually asked how you pronounce it. It's a book by Howard Langer. And he's going to talk about it, but it's a story about loss, but also about what we rebuild through faith, love, music, and one another. It's an amazing story. And I said, you know what? We got to talk to this guy. And now we will. And here he is, the author, Howard Langer. Howard, how are you, sir? Welcome to the Bob Cordaro Show.
How do you do?
Tell us about this book. The story captured me and interested me, and I know it will our audience. What's it about?
It's about a Hasidic rabbi who was the sole survivor of his sect in World War II, who is saved by American soldiers, Black American soldiers, and taken back to Mississippi, where he spends his first years in America learning of Black America rather than of the broader Northeastern America, where most survivors ended up. And he's discovered fiddling in a subway station in New York City in the 1960s. And the book basically tells his story, how he ended up fiddling in a subway station in New York in the 1960s, having been brought up to be the head of this sect.
Like literally playing the fiddle in the subway. Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So what? This is a novel. Is there a kernel of fact or truth in this, or was this something that you imagined and developed?
It's something I imagined and developed, but just in the last week, I discovered that, in fact, there was an instance, at least, I'm sure there were many, but at least one instance of the head of one Hasidic sect having lost his entire sect but survived the war by himself in the United States. But I had imagined it completely. It was all fiction.
And what experience did you have with Southern Black communities that informed you on this journey to this novel, The Last Decrepitzer?
The truth of the matter is, I have never been in the Deep South myself. I tell people that Carmen, that Bizet had never been to Spain but wrote Carmen, and I had never been to Mississippi. but wrote the book. But people tell me it's a very accurate description.
That's amazing. I mean, you had to have felt yourself in the shoes of your protagonist in order to write this book.
That's true. I'm 75 now. I was 70 when I wrote the book, and I had a life of experiences going into the book. And even though they're expressed through characters extending from a period, in the 1920s until the 1950s, periods when I was barely alive. Most of it I wasn't alive. But the ideas and the issues that the characters deal with, their relationship to God, their relationship between blacks and whites, and so on, and Jews and blacks, are universal experiences. So it didn't really matter whether they were my personal experiences, but they expressed my personal, whatever I should say, issues that I had struggled with my life.
Fascinating. Howard Langer is our guest. He's written a book, and it is The Last Decrepitzer. And am I pronouncing it correct?
Right, Bob, and it'll make it easier for you to remember because embedded in the name is decrepit.
Decrepit. And I noted that. Yeah.
The sect is the sect in which the fictional sect of which the protagonist was groomed to be the rabbi of were the Decrepitzers, and I embedded decrepit in it because it was a fictional little Eastern European town, which were known as shtetls, which were predominantly Jewish, that were all wiped out by the Nazis. But I felt that as the 1930s were approaching, this civilization, this rural Jewish poverty-stricken civilization in Eastern Europe, was coming to an end as it faced modernity. And so I used the term decrepit in the midst there because it kind of sounds like one of these Hasidic sect towns, decrepits. And I just thought it worked.
Tell us,
that way.
Howard Langer, tell us about yourself. Give us the 70 years or some summary of the 70 years that brought you to write this novel.
Well, I went to City College in New York, where I did win a number of writing awards as an undergraduate for short stories. But eventually I left the PhD program in English and went to law school, went to the University of Pennsylvania Law School. And
as did I, but it didn't do me much good.
Well,
but yeah.
It did me tremendous good, though, I have to say. I actually worked for many years with a lawyer who grew up in Archibald and who had great connections to the Scranton Wilkes-Barre area, David Berger.
Yeah, the Bergers, sure, yes.
And I was a class action antitrust and consumer lawyer. I also taught antitrust law at the University of Pennsylvania Law School. I still do. And I founded my own law firm in the around 2000. And we specialize in consumer class actions and antitrust law. Sued banks and had really great success that way. I've really been blessed.
What writing is a big part of your law practice, I know, but what brought you to say, I want to do a novel?
I was, during COVID, I watched a presentation at the Philadelphia Free Library by the great novelist and short story writer George Saunders on writing. And he said, if you want to write, you've got to sit down and do it. You can't think about it. You can't talk about it. I said to myself, I'm 70 years old. If I'm going to do it, I better start doing it. The next morning, I sat down and started writing.
Really? What was the genesis of the idea itself for this story? It was an amazing story.
I was originally my purpose. When I sat down to write, I needed some goal, and I was disturbed by the tensions between the Jewish and Black communities in the United States, and I wanted to write something that would ameliorate that. And I didn't sit down and just write what I ended up writing as a novel. I actually threw out a number of drafts of different things, but I eventually came upon this, where the leading character is essentially a rabbi who ends up speaking Black English and is introduced to America as a Black man, as a Black person. And it gave me an opportunity to show all of the points of contact between the two communities.
Yeah.
How slavery is just an essential part of the Jewish experience, very different, but also of the Black experience. Rural Black America was very similar in many ways to rural Jewish life in Europe in the shtetls in the 1920s and before. No plumbing, no electricity, poverty, a terrible discrimination, and similar stuff. In addition, you had the Black church, which engaged in a kind of ecstatic musical worship, and Hasidic Judaism did the same. So there were all these points of similarity that I thought through a novel I could bring out that way.
The story of how you got to this story is as fascinating as the book itself. It really is. Our guest is Howard Langer. His book is The Last Decrepitzer, and it is a fascinating study of the last of his tribe to come to America after the destruction of World War II and the Holocaust, and become part of a Southern Black community, a rural Black community. I just find it fascinating. I live in the hill section of Scranton, Howard, and we've got every version of the Jewish faith, and they walk by the house constantly. I just fascinated by it all. In fact, I've since October 7th, I have a mezuzah on my front post, and I just feel an affinity with the Jewish community. Tell me, where do you think we're headed? And I don't call it anti-Semitism, because Semitism, the Arabs are Semites, Muslims are Semites. It's anti-Jewish. Tell us, where do you see us heading in that respect? We're in a scary place now.
We're in a scary place from the right with people like Fuentes, and we're in a scary place from the left. Mm-hmm. And it is really the case, and it's shocking to myself. I mean, I come from a family, I'm the fourth generation in America. My father, was in the Navy, and I'm really feeling that we're in a very, I don't want to use the word precarious because it makes it seem dire, but
it is.
When I read things that a guy like Fuentes says, and I see that he gets invited to the White House, or at least to Mar-a-Lago, it's very frightening to me.
I'm not understanding, particularly in the midst of what I see as a very necessary war against the evil that is the Iranian regime, blaming Israel for it. We've got, people that were seemingly normal at one time, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, going insane. And it's got to be scary. Let me ask you, just to retrace, are there more novels in your future? Because this one is fascinating. The Last Decrepitzer. Are there more stories that you're thinking about to write future books?
Yes, I'm in the midst of writing a kind of family saga book about a family in New York City, roughly coinciding with the length of my own life. But it's, having only written one, I'm not really adept at the process yet. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. It's like giving birth, isn't it?
Well, I can't say, having never had a baby myself.
Well, but you seem to be able to come up with these things anyway. But writing a novel is so much harder, in my view, than writing something about something that actually happened, whether it's biography or historical. You've got to
I'll
do a
tell you,
lot more research.
because I began writing when I was 70, I didn't have to do the degree of research I would have had to do if I'd begun writing when I was a younger man.
Yeah.
But I did do a lot of research. But the thing that amazed me through the process of writing the book was I had written a short story about this man fiddling in the subway station in New York in 1960. And I had just written the short story, and someone told me, no, that's not a short story, that's a novel. And I didn't have any idea of what that novel was going to be, other than the fact was that the obvious question was, how did this man end up speaking Black English, being a former Hasidic rabbi, fiddling in a subway station? So the question was, how did he get there? And I did not know the answer. And every day I would come down and say to my wife, you won't believe what happened to the Rebbe today. Because I didn't know the day before what was going to come. And it was a fascinating thing for me to see how the imagination worked in crafting the novel.
The Last Decrepitzer by Howard Langer. It's a fascinating and great read, a great novel, and a first novel for Howard Langer, and you're going to enjoy it if you read it. I thank you for coming on and appreciate it and appreciate your work. It's fascinating.
Well, nice to talk to someone who fancies himself a man of the right, who has a balanced view of these people like Carlson and Owens and others.
Yeah. Well, we seek common sense. That's all. We don't care about left or right.
It Common Sense Radio.
It's the club. It's the club for common sense. That's what we are. Hey, we thank you and appreciate very much your work and your appearing on our show today, and welcome you back anytime. We really do.
Okay, thanks, Bob. You be well.
Thank you, Howard Langer. The Last Decrepitzer, fascinating book. Look it up. You're gonna love it. We'll take a break. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. our Veterans Tribute. This hour as with every hour, this day as with every day. Brought to you by our friend John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group. It's Hospitality Week at all of his restaurants. The Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township, the Far Street Tavern on Far Street in the Great Trips Park section of West Scranton, the Queen City Tavern on the main drag in downtown Oliphant, and then the incomparable Atera 519 Linden Street, downtown Scranton, and the amazing Stegmeyer Mansion, the Mary Stegmeyer Mansion, downtown Wilkes-Barre, South Franklin Street, just a block or two away from the Fred Stegmeyer Mansion, the best bed and breakfast in the country, bar none. Steven Salvaggio, he was 88. He was from 40 Fort. We lost him March 23rd. His wife passed away just a few months before him back in December. They were married over 60 years. They raised two children, Stephen and Hillary, on New Street in Pittston before moving to 40 Fort in the late 70s. Steve was born and raised in a large Italian family on Luzerne Avenue in West Pittston, filled with many great traditions. The oldest of four, he received his sacraments and was a member of Immaculate Conception Church. An accomplished accordion player, very dear to his heart. Graduate of West Pittston High School, West Wilkes-Barre Business College, and a proud veteran of the United States Coast Guard. Steve Salvaggio was a member of the Fox Hill Country Club, where he worked as a caddy as a young boy. Served on the board of directors and former vice president of that club. His professional career was always in sales. He sold everything from caskets to carpet, but the majority of his career centered around the manufactured housing industry. Steve also played an important role in his wife Carolyn's beauty business, Star Tresses. I remember that. The Star Beauty Academy and the Sports Page. He's survived by his son Stephen and his wife Diane, daughter Hillary and her husband Neil, grandson and twin sisters, Anne-Marie Parente and Mary Ann Pollitt. Steven Salvaggio. John Plesche, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. It's Plesce. Family writes, with hearts full of gratitude, love, and sorrow, we announce the passing of our beloved father. Born in Hazleton, his last breath was April 3rd at age 84. A man of selfless compassion, he lived serving others with the highest levels of service. Survived by his loving spouse, Gloria. Guiding father of 3 daughters and a son. 12 grandchildren, 15 great-grandchildren. His dedication, he worked alongside his family to create a legacy. Plesche's Neapolitan Pizzeria. He also went on to be a compassionate caregiver at the Whitehaven Center. John Plesche, Steven Salvaggio, our veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. The AccuWeather forecast, brought to you by our great friends at Montage Mountain Resort, which is swinging into spring. Today, partly sunny and pleasant, high 73. It is 61 at Montage Mountain right now. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 42. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, high 69, low 45. Saturday, chilly with periods of rain, 50 is as high as it's going to get, low 42. Sunday, a little better, mostly cloudy, high 62, low 42. Monday, warmer, mostly cloudy in the morning, followed by sun through high clouds, mind you. High 71, low 42. And that's your weather, brought to you by Montage Mountain Resort. The Eagles, Murph tells us this date, 1977. They moved up to number 3 with their song Hotel California. I was never a big fan of the song, and then our prison band played it, and I got to really like it. Bob Cordaro back with you on the eponymous program. How about Howard Langer? I mean, the book, The Last Decrepitzer. It's a beautiful novel and a beautiful story. I wrote to his publicist. I said, come up with an excuse. Is there any red letter days, that the book is re-released or whatever? I said, we'll have him on again. Fascinating guy, and I wish I'd run across him at University of Pennsylvania School of Law. Taught antitrust. But did you remember a name? And a lot of you may or may not know. There was, you know what I used to do when I was in law school first year? I think it was Wednesdays I had off of class. And so I would go through, I can't remember Martindale Hubbell, which were the legal directories. There were these huge, thick books. And I would go through the Martindale Hubbell, and I'd put a suit on, and I'd go look up in downtown Philadelphia lawyers who had either a Scranton or Wilkes-Barre connection or maybe went to the University of Rochester. And I would just go stop. I put a suit on and just go stop at their law firms and say hello. And one of the people I went to see, because they were from Archbald, David Berger of Berger and Montague. And I did not notice this in the book, that Howard Langer had practiced with David Berger, who was a fascinating and really accomplished lawyer. They did class action suits all over the country, and were highly successful. And they were in a townhouse, I think on not Walnut Street, but one of those streets. And I remember going to this old townhouse and just stopping by, and David Berger, he saw me in. I said, my name's Bob Cordaro. I'm from Dunmore. I'm at the University of Pennsylvania now, and blah, 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 and we just talked and said hello. I wasn't looking for a job, just wanted to meet him. And I'm happy I did, and now Howard Langer closes that circle. Fascinating. All right, let's go to Bill from Pittston on JFK and PT 109. How are you, Bill?
Doing pretty good. Good interview again. When the facts get in the way of the legend, Prince the legend. That's the Kennedys. It's a kind of a corruption of the man who shot Liberty Valance,
Yeah.
But it's true. Like, I'm a fan of a family that's enamored with the Kennedys. And my great-grandfather was on Honey Fitz's payroll at one time.
Wow.
So, I'm a little, jaded, but at the same time, you gotta look at the facts and not so much the legend. And JFK, in a letter from Joe to JFK, said, "How did you get away with this? He should have been court-martialed."
Yeah, the PT boats. Now, Rick Bigelow, and I'm not remembering it specifically, he had a more definitive story about the PT 109 getting cut in half. There was some justification for it, but it. Yeah, I mean, the way I'd always read it was that it was a blatant mistake, a screw up, that led to this big ship cutting him in half.
Yeah, he was caught sleeping at the wheel, really, and when it came upon him, he reacted. Well, he couldn't do anything. He was just hoping they wouldn't see him, but they did, and of course, cut the boat in half. But he always had a reckless streak too. I mean, he was dating that one girl that he called Inga Binga. She was supposedly a Nazi spy, and he had that reckless streak that carried on throughout the family. And but in justice to him, what he did after the boat was split in two was very
Pure
heroic.
bravery,
but his brother was really confounded, and his brother was so jealous of the heroics because the father just turned to what should have been a tragedy into making him a national hero. And, old Joe knew how to print that legend, and he did. But Joe was so jealous, he took that suicide mission.
I was gonna say that the brother Joe, who was supposed to be the president in the Kennedy family hierarchy, said he was jealous that his brother had become a national hero. And took that essentially suicide mission with a plane over Germany, and was killed in the process, obviously.
Yeah, it blew up almost shortly after it took off.
Yeah.
And the place he was supposed to strike that was making missiles was empty. That makes it even a greater tragedy. But he was so compelled when JFK came back from his ordeal and was back at home, he would hardly even talk to his brother. And Joe was like blowing him off that Big Joe had hey, your brother's a hero. He goes, don't I know it? So he was already trying to find his way to gain Curry's favored from his father.
Yeah.
The competition between the two was really borderline cruelty. He used to beat up on John as a kid. So, so he did have that reckless streak about him.
Yeah, fascinating.
But, he kind of blew it on that one.
Thank you, Bill. Always a pleasure. We've got to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We're going to hear from our great sponsors. We find out what's happening in the markets and Bloomberg. And then we've got more to talk to you about. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Somebody suggested Biden's stolen valor banner make this episode today extra special for the scumbag who lied about his candidacy for president after the Virginia rally in 2017. Yeah. Ugh. It's just, I need a shower after just thinking about Joe Biden. But the Green Ridge Neighborhood Association has hung a banner, a hometown hero banner, intended for veterans. Biden dodged service multiple times. And they've still hung the banner. And when they found out they were wrong, they kept it up. And we're saying, tear it down for this sickening disgrace. You're embarrassing yourselves, and you should be ashamed. Biden banner, disgrace, stolen valor, day 128. Ugh. Take it down. Get in touch with the Green Ridge Neighborhood Association or any member thereof and let them know politely you're disgusted with them. So we've got an interview with J.P. DeGance after the news. He's the founder of something called Communio. We'll find out about that. Regarding family breakdown in Pennsylvania and faith-based efforts to bring marriage back. I get these requests all the time, and some of them just capture me. And I'm interested to hear. I don't know who he is. I don't know much about him, but I'm interested to hear what he has to say. Somebody says, love the Biden blunders. Thank God we overcame that 4 years. How did we survive it? I mean, they killed the investigation that was started into the Southern Poverty Law Center that was funding to give them purpose, I guess. They were funding hate groups that would be irrelevant otherwise. And remember the whole Biden thing? What's the most dangerous thing? Well, white supremacy is the most dangerous force in the country. No, Islamist fanaticism is the most dangerous thing in the country. But, oh, they're your political allies, so you don't care. We'll be playing a little ditty on that. Why the Islamists support the left and the Democrat Party. Quite amazing. In any event, that's what they do. Hey, my Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 11 o'clock. That means it's time for the news with Brian Hughes. Yeah, that rhymes. We'll be back after this with J.P. DeGance, founder of Communio. it's got to be the Duprees. You know it. And guess what? We got Tom Patillo, lead singer of the Duprees. He's going to be performing in that amazing Joe Nardone program May 2nd at the Kirby. And here he is. Tom, how are you?
I'd be better if you played our version of that.
Oh, did he pick the wrong song?
You got the wrong people on there, my friend.
Hey, that's the Bulldog's fault. I said play the Duprees and all right, Bulldog, now you got to find the real version while we're talking, all right?
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, it's good to have you back. It's going to be great to have you here May 2nd for this all-star show at the Kirby Center. Welcome back to the Bob Cordaro Show. How you doing?
Okay, well, we're looking forward to working with another Joe Nardone presentation. Jane the Americans will be on stage, as well as the Brooklyn Bridge, and a special guest, Isanto. Wait a minute.
And we're going to have him on Monday, I hope.
Stefano Di Santo.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
We're going to have him on Monday on the program.
Okay.
Looking for him. We got Jimmy Rosica on from Brooklyn Bridge tomorrow. So we're all over this show. We love it. And Tom, tell us a little bit about the Duprees.
Oh, God. Well, you got an hour? No, I mean, what would you like to know? I mean, there's so much to say.
Give us your involvement and when you got involved and where it took you and all that.
Well, okay. I came into the group replacing Michael Kelly in 1978. However, the group did have some changes in 1980 when the original group stopped performing. Mike Arnone decided to continue the songbook of the Duprees, and he brought in Richie Rosato, who was there for 20 years. And now I came back. I mean, there was John Salvato's Duprees that I worked with, and now I've been back with the Mike Arnone Duprees for over 25 years. And we just keep going on and on and on. Yeah, there's been a few changes along the way. You know, we had the Duprees had 4 main lead singers, but that's nothing different. I mean, the Drifters had 5 lead singers. You know, there's a lot of changes in all the groups.
How do you keep the sound? Because you really have captured the essence of of what we know as the Duprees, and that's what we're going to get to see on May 2nd.
Well, you know, any person that has been a Dupree was obviously talented.
Yeah.
And especially the lead singers. Every lead singer that worked for the Duprees was great in his own right. So, you know, you have the talent, you have the experience of all the years of singing, and it's just something that evolves into your life. Like me, for instance, I've been singing Dupree songs for 50 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, I got involved through them, through family. And I was a fan before I ever thought of being the lead singer. But it's worked out well for me, and it's worked out well for the Duprees. And we just keep going on and on, you know. But truthfully, it really is a testament to the songs. The songs are everlasting, you know. They're beautiful love songs, beautifully written songs. And people just love to hear them. And it's really the people that keep coming back and filling the seats that keep the music of the Duprees alive, you know?
Tom Patillo is our guest. He's lead singer of the Duprees, who will be performing here along with Brooklyn Bridge and Jay and the Americans on Joe Nardone's program at the Kirby, Saturday night, May 2nd. Tommy, you have been doing this. I mean, how many shows are you going to do this year with the Duprees?
Oh, I would say somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 or 40, maybe.
Wow. And do you still love the road? Do you still love it?
Well, getting on a plane isn't as easy. I'm 75 years old. Jimmy's 82. So it's not that it's not as easy as it used to be when we were young and full of energy, But once you hit the stage, it's all there. We just love what we're doing. We love the fact that we have a really nice combination with Jimmy and Sean and myself up there. We have fun, and I think the people see that. And we have another singer in the group now that after Tony and Phil left after 30 years of performing with the group. We didn't know what to expect, but we're still selling out audiences, and it's just such a pleasure to still be able to get up there and do it.
Why?
And do it right.
Why do you think? And you said you were a fan before you were a Dupree, Tom Patillo. Why do you think that the music from groups like Jay and the Americans, Brooklyn Bridge, and the Duprees, why is it so evocative of a feeling, of a time and a place, and so nostalgic? Why is that music so great and timeless?
Well, it's good music. Good is good, right?
Yeah.
And, you could understand the words. The 50s generation, we were a dancing generation of slow songs, and fast songs. But I don't know. Are there songs out there you could dance to today? I don't know.
I know.
So I mean, I'm not cracking on all the music that's out there, but there's very little appeal to our generation.
Yeah.
So to go back and reminisce and if you love to dance, you love to hear slow songs, or you love to hear, they don't necessarily have to be slow, but just words that you can understand.
Yeah.
And it has to do with the nostalgic thing, too. You go back to the era of, we grew up in basically after World War II, a carefree environment in some ways. But, hey, listen, it still works, and that is amazing. They said rock and roll will never last. Well, boy, were they wrong.
Tom Patillo, what is your favorite song to perform?
Oh, gee, I get asked that a lot.
It's it's a dumb question, I know, but I'm just curious as a fan.
No, I mean it's a fair question, but for me, I don't really have a one that. I love all the Dupree songs.
Yeah.
There are many. I mean, we recorded between from 1962 up until today. We've recorded probably 150 or more songs.
Amazing.
And I just it'd be hard for me to pick one and say that's my favorite.
What has been your favorite, if there is, and it's another dumb question, but a fan question. What was your favorite moment, or what are a couple of the highlights of your time with the Duprees?
Oh well, okay. Well, the very first when Michael left the group. Mike Kelly, John Sabato had sent me a telegram. And at the time I was singing with my own group Parkway that I had for many years as well. He asked me to give him a call. So I called him and I asked him, what part do you want me to audition for? And he said, the lead. And, I was floored when I heard that. I didn't expect it. But I went down to rehearsal, and a week later, I was on stage with Don K. Reed hosting and with a bunch of other groups. And it was just an amazing time, for me, because it's something, you hope and pray for, and you never think it's going to happen. But bang, I was with one of the best groups in the business, and it was a heck of a night. Other than that, I would have to say singing at the Richard Nader shows with those crowds. I mean, 10,000 people, 15,000 people, whatever it was at the time. And I actually sang, the first time I ever sang there was with my group Parkway, because we won a cappella competition in the parking lot. and that afforded us to open up the Nader Show.
Amazing.
And Mike Arnone heard me perform in that, and I guess he kept me in mind for when Richie Rosado decided to leave.
Fascinating.
And that's how it happens, you know. It's a combination of talent, luck, and persistence. You know, you can't give up on your dreams. You know, you just got to hang in there. And in my case, it all came to, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, it all came to pass.
Yeah.
You know?
You're a Johnny come lately at almost 50 years, huh?
Well, I didn't get here overnight. Let's put it that way. Right?
Yeah. Fascinating. Well, we're excited to have you here on July 2nd. It is going to be great. We know a lot of people excited about it, and we thank you for coming on the Bob Cordaro Show. Very, very happy to have you.
Was my pleasure, and look forward to seeing you.
All right. Now, is he playing the right song?
That's fine. That's Joey.
He'll get it right one of these years.
That's okay. No, that's okay. Joey is fine. He's the guy that made the hit.
Tom Patillo, the Duprees, May 2nd, the night of May 2nd, Saturday, at the Kirby Center. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Hope to see you there.
All right. We'll take a break. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Coming back with J.P. DeGance. Dexy's Midnight Runners. Murph tells us, and deservedly so, they had the #1 hit this date, 1983. I love that song. Come on, Eileen. Fantastic, fantastic. How about Tom Patillo from the Duprees? I mean, I told Bulldog, I said, you should look up the song that says Tom Patillo and the Duprees. He played 2 songs that he had nothing to do with. But he'll be here on the 2nd. That's going to be a great concert. It's going to be a lot of fun. So there's been a family breakdown in Pennsylvania. And a group called Communio, which I'm going to have them tell me about, is doing faith-based effort to bring marriage back here in Pennsylvania. And we're joined by the founder of that group, J.P. DeGance, to talk about this important subject. Mr. DeGance, welcome to the Bob Cordaro Show.
Hey, Bob, great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for your patience, too. We were double booked for this hour, and we appreciate you waiting. Tell us about Communio, first of all.
Yeah, we are a ministry that serves the local church, right? We don't work with individual couples or individuals. We support the church to share the gospel through the renewal of healthy relationships, marriage, and the family. And the reality is the health of marriage drives faith outcomes. It drives economic outcomes. It drives flourishing in so many different dimensions. And most churches, about 85% of them, are spending nothing in the area of marriage and relationship ministry. So we exist to solve that problem, come alongside the church with evidence-based strategies, cutting-edge tools, and we help them produce transformation on marriage. Our work came out of a successful pilot in Jacksonville where we worked with 93 churches and lowered the divorce rate across the whole county by 24%.
Wow.
In 3 years. So we're big into tracking and measuring and producing, helping the church produce real results, because fundamentally we know that these aren't our resources, they're the master's resources, right? This is kingdom capital, and the master's going to come back and say, hey, what I gave you some talents. What did you produce with that? And we want to show a real return.
How do you do it? What is the? You go to a church. You say, hey, we're Communio. We want to help you and your parishioners to solidify marriages, to make sure that it's right and that they last. Is that what you say? And then they just say, okay, try it. How do you go about it?
Sure, great question. Right. So think about us like the way the analogy I use is we're like a world-class campaign consulting firm. Instead of running campaigns to win elections, we're helping the church run campaigns to win on marriage and the family. Okay. And so what that looks like is we call it the data-informed full circle relationship ministry. And by data-informed means we help the pastor and his leadership team know what's going on. We first-party survey data, commercially available data to understand risks and opportunities in the community. And then full circle, what that means is the idea this is a full church ministry, right? So too few people are getting married, too few people are staying married, too few kids are being raised in marriage. So on all fronts, we help a church think through what you're doing for youth, young adults, singles, those seriously dating, the engaged, the married, those thriving and those struggling. And in terms of what it looks like in a concrete way, we are a world-class marketing agency for the church. We had 82,617 people come to our churches last year in person. We work to draw people into the local church who'd never otherwise be there. About a third of ministry participants aren't members of the church. And then in terms of what we're getting them into, we're drawing them in first to something fun and engaging, low in but 10 to 30% enrichment, something fun like a parents' night out, a date night, and then ultimately helping them draw them into what research shows is the most effective skills programs, 8 to 12 hour programs that practice the skills of healthy relationships, both for singles and married. So bottom line is, Bob, our churches are thriving. Churches that work with us are growing by about 24% Sunday attendance. And those married people who say they're in trouble, 74% of them afterwards say they're very satisfied or completely satisfied in their marriage. And then the singles, they're 57% more likely to say that they feel confident, that they got the knowledge and skills to form a healthy relationship. So excited, Bob, because we just signed a partnership out in Pennsylvania where we'll be doing a lot more work with churches. We're working with a phenomenal organization. Pennsylvania Family has brought us in. Mike Gear and his team, the Church Ambassador Network with Pennsylvania Family has partnered with us, and we'll be working with churches. Several thousand churches that are in their network we'll start to partner with and see if we can start to change outcomes on marriage and family in the Keystone State.
J.P. DeGance is our guest. He's the founder of Communio, which is fighting to bring marriage back, and it's a faith-based program. Tell me, how do you reach out to people who aren't churchgoers? How do you get to them? Because that's where maybe a majority of the divorces are coming from.
Yeah, first off, you're absolutely right. Divorce and the lack of marriage is more likely for folks who aren't in church, right? Although it's too high for those who are in church. Based on our, we've surveyed about 200,000 people in church on Sunday, and about 1 in 5 are struggling in a significant way on any given Sunday. And that said, finding folks that aren't there is a key thing. And so we run multi-channel marketing campaigns branded for and by the local church. So we do everything from help the church run social media campaigns, digital media, outbound email marketing, direct mail. We've got a mobile block walking app. And then it's invitations to things that folks actually want to go to. Yeah. So it might be a comedy night. It might be a couple's night out. It could be a cornhole tournament, a block party. We've got a series of playbooks that we've run, various outreach events with churches hundreds of times across the country. And we come along, we're coaches, so we come alongside, help a church figure out for their community and their context what might make sense, what might work in Western PA might look, or Central PA may look a good deal different than what it would look like in Philadelphia, and how we might think about that, right? And so we've worked with churches in, lots of different contexts: rural, urban, suburban, lower income churches, and really large, vibrant suburban churches, and everything in between. So we're ecumenical. We work with churches that hold to a biblical view of what is marriage, and are Trinitarian in their theology. So we work with Protestant and Catholic churches across the country now.
How does this fit in? I'm Roman Catholic. How does this fit in with the pre-Cana? How does this fit in with pre-Cana, which is a great program to explore marriage between couples?
Yeah, pre-Cana is largely a term that refers to the formation for folks who are entering marriage, right? They're engaged, and it might look different. It looks different in most dioceses, but it's some series of meetings and education for a couple. So we work with on the Catholic side, we work with parishes to think through what are they doing currently in pre-Cana, how are they forming people. We'll help them figure out what is the most, what's currently performing best. We've got a great partner. We love an organization on the Catholic side called Witness to Love. They do great work. Their methodology has a really high success rate, and it focuses on a discipleship approach, an accompaniment approach for couples as they are. It connects couples immediately with mentors who walk with them before marriage and then after the wedding day. So, but the big thing, on the Catholic side is you get married and, you're kind of on your own, right? You just, there's no rule of life. There isn't much ongoing ministry for couples after that wedding day. And so one of the things that we want to do is just make it normal in every church that we grow in health and holiness together, right? God gave me the spouse, and my wife is part of my walk towards heaven, and so help each. We want to make it normal that in each church we help both the husband and wife develop the human skills and the spiritual skills to live marriage well, so that then they can also better disciple their own children. Yeah. Okay, and raise up a next generation of believers. And the reality is, Bob, over the last 66 years, I would argue, marriage started to unwind before faith unwound. And really, the rise in religious non-affiliation, which has become so endemic over the last 40 plus years, is really just the result of the unwinding of marriage. Mm-hmm. And if the church can get upstream of it and rewind that ball of marriage, you're going to see a great revival of faith in Jesus Christ.
Well, you don't have without marriage, you don't have family. Without family, you don't have community. Without community, you don't have country.
100%.
Your work is very important. We look forward to talking to you again at some point in the future. J.P. DeGance, our guest, founder of Communio, and they're fighting to make marriage the institution it should be, and to keep marriages in place. And we appreciate everything you're doing, and you're bringing modern methods to it. It's important.
Yeah, we're making marriage great again, Bob. Folks can follow us. They can go to our website and learn more, communio.org, and they can also follow me on X. My X handle is at JP DeGance. So thanks so much, Bob, for having me.
And we'll do this again. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We're going to take a break. JP DeGance, Communio, just like it sounds. We'll take a break and be back with our Veterans Tribute. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Our Veterans Tribute this hour brought to you by our man John Basiliga. It's Hospitality Week at the Basiliga Hospitality Group. That includes the Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township. The Queen City Tavern, downtown Main Drag, Oliphant. The Far Street Tavern on Far Street in the Great Trips Park section of West Scranton. That includes a Terra 519, the incredible modern statement of a restaurant in downtown Scranton, and the Stegmeyer Mansion, an exclamation point for restaurants in downtown Wilkes-Barre, South Franklin Street. Dorothy Evans, RN. We lost her April 5th. She was from West Scranton. Cherished mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. She died at age 101. She was married for 57 years to the late William Evans, who died in 2005. Steadfast in her devotion to her family and friends, loved by all. Born in South Scranton, she was a 1943 graduate of St. Mary's of the Assumption High School. She entered the U.S. Army's Nurse Cadet Program at Mercy Hospital School of Nursing, graduating in 1946. After raising her children, Dorothy returned to nursing and was employed at Mercy Hospital until her retirement. Afterwards, she and her husband were owners of Pocono Northeast Travelers and led seamless travel experiences for many destinations. A volunteer at Geisinger CMC for 10 years and a proud 17-gallon blood donor to the American Red Cross. She was known not only for nursing, but baking, cooking, and knitting. Her Catholic faith was central to her life and prominent in every choice she made. She was a member of St. Patrick's Church in West Scranton and a former member of St. John the Baptist Church. She served as Eucharistic minister for more than 35 years at St. John's, St. Patrick's, and St. Anne's Basilica. Her devotion to St. Anne was throughout her life. Left to cherish her memory are 6 children, 15 grandchildren, 9 great-grandchildren. She also has 3 step-grandchildren, 7 step-great-grandchildren, and a step-great-great-grandson. Incredible legacy. Dorothy Evans, Army nurse. Our great veteran this hour, brought to you by our friend John Basiliga and the great Basiliga Hospitality Group, celebrating Basiliga Hospitality Week. AccuWeather forecast brought to you by our friends at Montage Mountain Resort. They're swinging into spring. There's always something going on up there. It's just a beautiful place to hang out. Today, partly sunny and pleasant, high is 73. Tonight, partly cloudy, 42. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, 69 with a low of 45. That's Friday. Well, then Saturday goes a little bit south. Chilly with periods of rain, high 50, low 42. Sunday, mostly cloudy, 62 degrees, low 42. And then Monday, warmer. Mostly cloudy in the morning, followed by sun through high clouds. I don't know how it'll get to us, but it will. High is 71, low 42. And that's your weather. Brought to you by the great Montage Mountain Resort, where it's 65 degrees as I speak. Great song. We lost Dave Mason this week. He died Sunday, April 19th, at his home in Gardnerville, Nevada. He was 79. His family said he died in his favorite chair after a quiet evening and a nap following dinner with his wife, Winifred. Dave Mason, he's a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, and we wanted to acknowledge that with his, I don't know, just a great song. Great musician. He'll be missed. But, as with so many of these people, like we're talking to Tommy Patillo of the Duprees today, who's going to be here May 2nd, they have an incredible legacy, just like our veterans, don't they? Amazing stuff. Hey, let's go to Gary from Mill City calling about ice and Lackawanna County. How are you?
Good, Bob. Thanks for taking my call. My mother-in-law lives in Dixon City, 93 years old. My wife was raised there before we got married. And she gets on, I believe, the Dixon City Police Facebook page quite regularly. And sees things. There's a large population in Dixon City now, a non-English speaking population. And in the Commerce Boulevard area and up on Route 6, Business Route 6, daily the Dixon City Police are picking numerous people up with no driver's license, no insurance, no registration. Lots of them are by Home Depot and Lowe's pulling trailers. So they got to be working construction in the area. They're picking up materials and the last couple weeks in an increasing level, they're wanted illegal aliens, and ICE doesn't have the manpower to come pick them up, so they're let back out in the public. They're wanted by ICE. And I guess Lackawanna County's commissioners passed where our jails don't have to accept them or won't accept them. And I just got off the phone before I called your show with Congressman User's office and Breslahan's office. And I wonder why nobody is doing this. I'm your age, and this has been a problem since that I've paid attention since Ronald Reagan's been in office, illegal immigration. We make new laws. If we would have enforced our old laws, we wouldn't be where we're at today. We make new laws, we run on it, and we don't do nothing about it. Now, Arizona in the Obama years lost in the Supreme Court. They were trying to actually toughen state laws to help with immigration. And the Supreme Court ruled against them. They said all immigration is federal government. How do we have sanctuary cities, sanctuary counties, sanctuary states? How does our government give these people our tax dollars? They have driver's license. They have free insurance. I'm retired and working to pay for mine and my wife's. And Congress does nothing about it.
And now we have local left wingers screwing it up worse. Thanks, man. we're finishing with Roy Orbison because on this date, 1936, he was born in Vernon, Texas. We lost him, victim of a heart attack, Madison, Tennessee, in 1988. His last song was this amazing music, You Got It. I love the song. Somebody texted in, Bob saw Dave Mason and Bob Welsh at Westchester State in 78. Roommate and I couldn't afford tickets, so we grabbed some construction vests from a nearby site and charged $5 for parking in the free lot. Made enough to see the show and buy beer for the dorm after the show. That's a good memory of Dave Mason. The electrician texted in, Bob, did you see the UK and probably Europe to follow are looking to pass legislation banning smoking to anyone born after 2009, regardless of age? More examples of rights being eroded, and people in this country want that here. Unreal. LTS back at you, electrician. It's insanity. And but at the same time, I can't even imagine people, and I love to smoke. I can't imagine it on an airplane. And it was part of our lives. Now it's indelible that you don't smoke on an airplane. Hey, we want to thank our friends at Roach Supply bringing you this live stream. They are the premier bath and kitchen supplier in Northeast Pennsylvania. They've been doing it and doing it well for 75 years, fourth generation. RoachSupply.com, R-O-C-H-E. RoachSupply.com. They're the best. And thank you to Tina Morocco, who we get to hear tomorrow, I hope. Global Sales Advisor at Sotheby's International in Naples, Florida. You can go to Sotheby's International Naples or Tina Morocco, MURACCO.com. Thanks to everybody for being with us. And our guests today, great guests today, good stuff. God willing, I'll be with you tomorrow morning. I don't know how I got here today, but I did. And we did it, didn't we? Thanks for being with me. You know I love hanging around you. I love hanging around with you. Even the trolls I love hanging around with. I mean it. So have a great afternoon. Sue Henry Show next. Rob O'Donnell after that. But for now, we must gavel to a close this meeting, today's meeting of the Club for Common Sense, because Bacardo's watch tells me it's 12 on the dot. Have a great afternoon.